He hurt my dog, so I made sure he lost the world he knew until he vanished. Buddy was the sort of dog that found you when you needed him. Warm head against your shin, sloppy kisses when you came home, a stubborn appetite for life that fixed small things. So when I found him shaking behind the fence, a cut matted in his fur and eyes that wouldn't meet mine, something inside me hardened. The vet said it looked deliberate. The cop who came by took notes and offered phrases meant to soothe. We'll look into it. They didn't. The report went on a shelf. Buddy went home with a cone and a trust that had to be rebuilt one gentle step at a time. I promised him one thing in that fluorescent room. I would make sure the man who did this could never do it again. The man was Evan across the street. Loud music, loud words. A man who thought cruelty was entertainment. He'd always been a nuisance, but you'd never put him in a lineup for monsters. Trouble hides best under ordinary. I started small, because small is how you catch ordinary people, noting his walks, the truck he favored, the bars he left at closing. I didn't shout. I set cameras where Buddy liked to sun himself and watched for patterns. It felt clinical, like waiting for a wound to tell you what it was. One night, a shaky clip showed Evan by our shed, a hand moving too fast and Buddy flinching. Not proof that could convict on its own, but enough to change the angle of a truth. Instead of marching over, I began to change the world he knew in ways that didn't leave marks, but eroded his certainty. A porch light, blinking at odd hours. Sounds along the fence that seemed to come from nowhere. A truck that passed late 3 nights in a row. Tires whispering like a footstep you could almost place. I let the neighborhood notice. Did you hear that? Who left their porch light on? People mentioned it in the grocery line, on the neighborhood page. Evan, who once strutted with a safe kind of menace, started checking his rear view like a man who'd misplaced a shadow. Fear isn't loud. It's a slow hush that replaces a man's bragging. As the nights added up, his routines frayed. He muttered about things he was sure he'd heard, about doors he found unlocked when he knew he'd shut them. Friends who'd laughed at cruelty now glanced away. The bar that used to seat him at the end of the night stopped his regular tab. Gossip is cleaner than evidence. It's a social acid that eats at the scaffolding some men build around themselves. He began sleeping in short bursts, pacing until dawn, saying he thought someone was out there. I never made a sound at his window. I let the empty moments between his breaths do the work. Paranoia breeds mistakes. Late one night, he dropped his phone while fumbling with the door, and a notification glowed like a confession. Messages to a buddy complaining about the dog, and a photo he tried to delete showing a hand near Buddy's ribs. It was sloppy, petty, human. I didn't publish it. I added it to the folder that had my motion cam clip, vet notes, and the neighbor statements that had started to pile up. When I took the packet to animal control and the local volunteer rescue, they listened. Volunteers who'd once shrugged sent emails, and those emails went to officers who suddenly had boxes to check and interviews to do. The net tightened because other people, finally, were holding their ends. He didn't get dramatic justice in chains. He got something more corrosive to a man who needed the world to be stable. The slow collapse of certainty. He lost casual friends who didn't want to be photographed near him in a dark alley. He lost bar discounts, and he lost the smooth, indifferent smile people used to give him. Rumors made him smaller. Restrictions made his nights emptier. Then one morning, a neighbor mentioned his truck was gone. One suitcase in the back seat. Headlights swallowed by the long road out of town. No fight, no police chase, just absence like a curtain dropped. Some said he ran because the spotlight was on him. Others said he left because the nights finally felt like jail. Either way, he didn't come back. Buddy healed with a slow, stubborn joy. First a nudge for a treat, then a full-bodied spin when the mail arrived. He still flinches sometimes at knocks, but his trust grew back in measured pieces. People on the block cross the street less now when they see a man alone. They look at the front porches the way you look at a neighborhood that keeps watch on its own. I won't pretend the path I took was clean. I watched, I nudged, and I let other people's unease become his world. If someone asks whether I would do it again, I answer without flourish. I already did. If they ask whether I sleep easy, I say the truth I always kept for myself, only when Buddy does.